turning the YouTube live on. Yeah. So good morning. Welcome everyone to today's ILA panel discussion, where we'll be discussing issues related to gender discrimination at workplace. And it will broadly address the topic of, are women suffering too much? So my name is Madhura. I represent Indian Lawyers Association. We are a young non-profit organization working pan-India to create a common voice of legal professionals across country. And we are working with a vision to clean India's legal system. So we know it's a huge movement, but we really invite all of you to join this movement, be with us, spread the message, take up actions that you can at your level. And we'll send more details to you on email today or mostly by Monday. And we work with a model of having chapters locally, which add a lot of local flavor to their operations. So we have about 70 chapters currently, and people come forward, do things. It's an exciting journey that we are on, and we invite all of you to join us. So I hand it over to Mr. Navneet Chugh, who is the founder of ILA and managing partner of Chugh LLP. He would be moderating the event today. Also, welcome to all our audience who have joined us on YouTube. And if you have questions, please put them on the chat box and we'll address those. Thank you. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Madhura. Thank you for doing such a great job running the Indian Lawyers Association. We've made great strides in the 4 years we've been in business. Our first event was January 18, 2018. And please say hello to the president of ILA, Mr. Amit Kaushal, who's a little under the weather, so I won't bother him to speak too much, but I will ask him to say something at some point. He's also going to be the judge of the evening. So the three panelists and I are going to have a debate, and then Amit is going to rule as to what is the right thing that should have happened here. We all know of this incident where a highly qualified teacher in Calcutta was forced to quit her job because she had posted some swimwear photos on her social media account. And a student saw that. And so I guess the Indian Constitution is clear that there's freedom of speech for everyone. Freedom of speech includes posting whatever you want on your social media account, unless it doesn't threaten anyone's life or incites violence, then it should be allowed. So was she right in posting whatever she wanted on her social media account, her private account? Is she entitled to live her life the way she wants? Or because she's a teacher and a professor and an educator, she should have higher standards and should worry about what the students might think about it, and maybe a decorum, maybe an impression on the college that she was teaching at. And maybe some different rules apply to her that are stronger than her freedom of speech. So we're going to have a very open conversation with our three panelists, Sania Kishwar, Gurpreet Kaur, and Santoshi Bhosle. And why don't we start with a self-introduction, and then we'll get to the first question. Sania, you were a professor in similar shoes as the person who got fired. So I guess the first question most appropriately will go to you. But we'll start with your introduction, Sania. Tell us about your life from the day you were born till this morning.
Thank you. So hello everyone, I'm Sania Kishwar. I'm currently a lecturer at Jindal Global Law School at OP Jindal Global University, Haryana. I have completed my schooling from Gaya, Bihar, and I was born and brought up in Gaya, Bihar, and I did my undergraduate from Central University of South Bihar, Gaya. And then I completed my first master's in law from the Pennsylvania State University, US. And I have another master's with a specialization in international human rights from the University of Leeds, UK. I'm also currently enrolled as a doctoral candidate at the National Law University, Delhi, where my research particularly dwells upon the feminist theories So this topic honestly is very close to my heart, and also very related to the topic that I am kind of researching upon. The topic of my research is basically focused on the rise of anti-feminist movement as a backlash against the feminist movement. And I'm focusing on the global South countries, of which India is one. So as Mr. Chuk told about the issue, and we all know about that, what concerns me is the inability of the said school to draw a distinction between course of employment and a personal time of any person, any teacher, professor, anyone who is employed. This might just have been another nature of employment, not just a school or a college teacher. It could very well have been a male teacher as well. So there are two very problematic issues over here, and basing on which I would think that if I were to decide on the fate of this lady school teacher, I would not have fired her, because what she was doing, A, was not during the course of her employment, and B, this is discriminatory based on the gender. I mean, what would have been the decision if the said person was a male or a transgender? Recently, I came across a news in which a transitioning man in Canada, he was wearing to the school where he was teaching a huge prosthetic breasts. But he was doing that in the school, and still the school supported him. But this woman, on the other hand, I mean, I agree, it's Canada and India, the standards are different. But what I mean to say is that this woman in this said case were not even wearing a swimsuit to her work. She was just posting it online, and that's where my last point comes to. Well, as Mr. Shuk said, what would your stand would have been if you were in this position? So basically, that's one of the reasons why I do not allow my students to follow me on social media. But that just depends. There are some pass out students who still follow me on social media. But honestly, whatever I do in my personal life, whatever I post on the social media, it might even be something political. It might reflect my political ideology. So students can always take this and create a fuss about it in the university, in the college, in the place where I'm working. But these are two distinct things. Whatever I say during my lecture, that is something which I did during the course of my employment. But whatever I say on the social media, I don't think that should be reflective of my potential or my ideology during my course of employment. So that's just my 2 cents over this.
Okay. Thank you so much. So Gurpreet, if you can first introduce yourself, and I have a question. So today's women are equally qualified, obviously, and are leading in several verticals. What do you think is still the reason behind gender discrimination? Is our society refusing to move on, or is it male ego, or what's going on? And do you think if the male professor had posted a swimsuit picture, the university would have fired the male professor?
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Gurpreet. I'm a practicing advocate and a founder of a virtual community called Kaanoon Kya Kehta Hai with Gurpreet. So basically, it's an audio-based community. It's envisaged as being India's first voiced legal community, and it's an initiative to create legal literacy and awareness. So I think that's about the community. And if I come back to your question, I think from my personal experience, I think there will be now two, dimensions to this question, to my answer. First is it's experiential. I haven't experienced any gender discrimination growing up. I grew up in an all girls, all sisters household, where we were not even told about any distinction. We were not even told that you are equal to them. You are similar to them. You are like boys to us. We weren't told anything. We were just normal human beings. So we never grew up with any biases, with nothing to prove to someone. And I think it's only later in the world when we realized that there were biases which existed outside. So even if there were some biases against me, I didn't realize them. I was totally oblivion to them because in my mental wiring that wasn't fed in. I didn't identify them. So I think I may have faced gender discrimination more from women than from men. So that is my personal experience. And if we are talking about the larger picture, is that it is more societal, it is the patriarchy. It is not only the male ego, but then who is nurturing that male ego? It's the mother, it's the woman, it's the whole household, it's the grandmother who makes it different for the boy, that okay, he's not going and learning how to cook, he's not helping in the household chores. So the man grows up, the man is what? Man is a child when he's born. So it's the society that puts that conditioning into his mindset. What is patriarchy? If we were to all get up in the morning, and if we were to clean the slate of the history, would we know, like, would a child know that a boy is different than a girl? Physiologically, yes. Biologically, yes. But any other ways, I think we are people. So I have this huge fantasy where I would just get up in the morning and realize that I was reading a chapter from a book of history. And I'm talking about once upon a time, there was a time when women and men were treated differently, and we needed laws for women. We needed so many laws to bring in equality, which was not prevalent in the society. So for these kind of questions are personally, for me, they are very painful for me. I don't understand that, and I think they are more discriminatory because the laws had to be made, the constitution had to talk about equality, because the equality was not there. And also that direction had to be given to the state to have special laws for women, because women needed those special laws. But I would like to wake up in an ideal society where these laws are not needed anymore. Coming back to this particular topic where this professor was sacked, I would say freedom of expression comes with the responsibility that it should not be against the law. If her posting picture, whether she was a professor or anyone else, if it is not against any law, if it is not against the indecent representation of a woman, then it's fine. Then it absolutely comes in the ambit of expression, her expression, So I think the thin line has to be studied. Is it against the law? If it is against the law, then number two, is it against the rules of the organization which has employed you, whether it's a college or it's any other organization? So if you have signed up for those rules, then you have to abide by them. So those things have to be seen before making a general comment.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Santoshi, your turn. Tell us about your life and then I'll ask you a question.
Okay, so hello everyone, and I guess majority of the people over here are lawyers, but I am an engineer by profession, and I work in IT industry as senior consultant. Recently, I turned author, and I am kind of doing this self-Karigar movement, which is again to enable millions of women around the globe to become anchor of their own life by building their powerful self-image. Because what I have understood from my own journey and from mentoring all the girls in my vicinity and in my colleges and also in my professional world where I have been, I have worked in 4 different companies. So what I have understood from and from the inputs from many girls, the self-image that they had within themselves because of the social norms, one can say, or the conditioning that they have been gone through, it's basically they have started believing that they are inferior. We all know this thing, and by the ecosystem and by the natural ecosystem, we know all this thing that obviously on physical level, women are little weaker than male, but that doesn't the case on psychological or emotional or any other aspect. Physical is just one aspect. So just because the physical has become the dominant factor in majority of the cases, so it's very easy to like bully a girl, to make her inferior, whether it can be a personal, social, or professional space. I am very happy to hear from Gurpreet that she was born and brought up in a home where she had this liberty to choose like what she wanted to do, and same is the case with mine, because we are three girls in a family and one brother who is younger. But my dad, he has always been, because he's also a lawyer, and he has always ensured this thing that no matter what, everyone should get similar like kind of rights, be it education, be it employment, be it anything of sort. So we have these values inculcated within us that from the beginning itself, that you are no lesser than anyone else, be it male or be it anyone in the world. But this is one thing, that is the personal thing. But when you go to school or colleges, incidents happens in your life, or maybe professional space, because I have faced this issue many times, like in my professional space, because I chose to be in the technical domain. So it is assumed that girls are not allowed to do technical jobs. They are just can do the management stuff, but they are not intelligent enough to do the technical stuffs. So I have heard this, like, in fact, this is my own personal experience. I have heard like why the girls have been chosen to do the technical role. So this kind of things kind of break the self-image of the girl within, like, it can be various incidents, because I have been to, like, I talk to many girls now, and I know from my experience that many life incidents just because happening at the home, like as Gurpreet also mentioned, like because our mothers kind of condition their child in a way, like boys are not supposed to do these things, but girls are supposed to do, because in their in-laws they have to do these things. So this kind of conditioning, it's been unconsciously imbibed since from the childhood. Maybe the mother is not knowing that she's doing this kind of injustice, because for mother, her child is like same, be it boy, be it girl. But because of this societal norms, she has to follow certain things, and she imposed unconsciously few things on her girl, which that girl doesn't want to accept, because she is a free will, right? Everyone is a free will. Everyone has right to do whatever they want to do. Obviously, there are few rules and regulations when it comes to identities. When you're identified by some identity, be a teacher, be an engineer, be a lawyer, you have to follow certain rules and regulations. But if you're not a lawyer, then you are a person who has this free will to express the way you want. So this is just my take, and this is just my small introduction. Like, that's the main reason I chose to become the self-image mentor for women, just to build their self-image.
So Santoshi, good you're not a lawyer, so then you're the perfect person to ask this question. Mm-hmm. So the professor or the lecturer has filed a lawsuit, I believe, in court, saying what the university did was wrong. And the picture she posted on her Instagram account happened 2 months before she started working at the university. So if there were any university rules that a professor will not do this or that, don't apply to her. And she had posted those pictures on her story, and those pictures were supposed to vanish within 24 hours. So I don't know how this 18-year-old boy could have seen the pictures when she wasn't even a professor, and I don't know what he did and saved those pictures or copied them, or how he remembered that they were her pictures months later. So she's filed a lawsuit. So one day she'll be in court, and she's contacted ILA and she's asked for representation. So we were appointing you, Ms. Bhosle, as her lawyer, and the trial starts in 30 seconds. So here walks in the judge. Please make your case on behalf of her that she was fired wrongly. Go ahead.
Okay, so I come from very humble background, and I have this deep spiritual understanding. I just want to quote one sentence from the strongest Vedas of Hindu culture, that is Atharva Veda, and that is like, all are equal in birth and death. Differences arise only during intervals. And now these intervals I'm talking about is about the identification, the discrimination, and everything that happens within the span of between birth and death. So what I believe is like, my client, I mean, whatever she did, obviously she is bound to certain rules and regulations, but this, like, she is teacher, I understand, but outside of that identification, she has her own thing to do. The thing which I call intervals, it's basically the people who are just projecting their thoughts. I mean, she just did what she felt was right for her. She has her own like life to live, and she was doing that, like posting so like Instagram photos or something is quite normal nowadays. And obviously she's not forcing someone to do that or not teaching her students to do that, right? So it's her personal choice to do, and whatever she did is right for me because she is a free will as I see her. And in school, and when she just picks any identity, then she is doing what she wants she has to do. But yeah, this is what I want to say, that identity should not define the person. The person should just take one identity, live by it, and then just keep it aside when they have to live the other part of their life.
So Gurpreet, you're the lawyer on the other side, and the universities filed a lawsuit against her, asking for 99 crores for defaming the university and asking her for an apology letter. Why do you want 99 crores since you're St. Xavier's lawyer? And why do you want an apology? You're on mute.
Yes. So a university represents a certain ethos. It has it represents a certain value system. The parents send their students to our university because of what we represent. We not only give quality education to our students, but we are attached to our culture. And we have special programs in the university where we are, we have these short-term compulsory courses for students in Sanskrit, in Vedas, and going back to the Vedic times. So we represent a certain value system. And this value system is clearly expressed in all our communication, not only with the students, but with the teachers. And everyone needs to imbibe that. And when this teacher was given employment, there was this contract where all these rules were made very clear. She signed them and she knew exactly what kind of employment she was getting into. And she, by posting this picture, even if it was in the past, she could have removed it. She is responsible because it has actually shaken the foundation on which our institute has been built. There are many modern institutions, but we represent a marriage between the modern and the old, the traditional and the contemporary. And this has hurt us badly. It has hurt our image, and the damage is irrevocable. And the 99 crores is too less. It cannot compensate the damage. It is just a price a teacher has to pay for doing this. I humbly submit my case.
Okay, Judge Kishwar. The professor wants. Yes, Amit.
Navneet, I have this question to you. See, about 200 years back, men's primary responsibility was to go and hunt or guard their territory. So men's, like their strength, they required strength and agility to either hunt or guard their territory, either kill the animal or the person or get killed, which required strength. Today, men don't need to go out and hunt an animal or require strength to do anything. And having said that, so therefore, women were restricted to home and men were going out to get food. I was talking to about a bunch of my friends who are 35 plus women who were working for 10, 15 years in their life. After 35, they're saying, it was better earlier. हमने बहुत काम कर लिया, बहुत मेहनत कर ली, अभी हमें घर पे बैठना अच्छा लगता है. We really don't want to go out. So 35 के बाद, women get exhausted. घर भी उनको देखना है, बाहर भी उनको जाना है. And there's a lot of women are saying, I've spoken to at least a dozen of them, it was better earlier. Responsibility was defined. The men will go out, women will be at home. Responsibility is defined. That was a better culture. At least a dozen women told me in the last few months when this entire thing came out. What is your view on this?
I think my view is simple. One, there is tremendous progress that the world has seen in the last 300,000 years that human beings have been floating around. Agriculture started 12,000 years ago, and that changed all of life. People had to stay in one place, and people started living in houses and started having fences. And then technology happened. And yes, you're right, all these roles were defined because that's how it was. The woman gave birth to a child. And, human beings are the only animals that the child can't live on his or her own after taking birth. But the entire other kingdom, the fish start swimming on day one and the giraffe start walking. It's only the human child that needs about 10 years of care. Otherwise, the human child can't survive. So if you're just a different species, and that's why I suppose marriage came about, whereas the woman said, promise me you're going to take care of me and I'll have the child. And the husband said, the guy said, promise me it's my child for sure and marry me, and then fine, I'll take care of this. So that's evolution. But then along the way came the birth control pill, which was the biggest revolution for women, one of the biggest revolutions for women. It allowed them the freedom to take control of when they can have a child and when they don't want to, which allowed them to go into work. The single largest thing that's happened in the last century that allowed women to go to work across the world is the birth control pill. Along the way came technology and washers and dryers and all of that. So now it's almost a level playing field, and it's freedom. If a woman wants to go to work, she goes, and if a guy wants to go to work, he goes. And thanks to COVID, even there's more freedom, work from home. So I'm glad there's progress. In developed nations, 60-70% of the women are at work. In India, it's 27%. And if that were to double to get to the world norms, and women participation in the labor force went from 27 to 54, imagine the impact on the GDP of India. So I think it's all great in the long run. Along the way, we have to manage these kinds of crises. And this is good discussion. Maybe there is no right or wrong answer. Other countries, what happened in Calcutta, the answer would be simpler. Maybe, but in India, we're going through all this. So let's see what Judge Kishwar has to say. So Judge, the professor wants an apology, wants her job back, and wants monetary compensation. And she feels that the termination was harsh and sexual discrimination and was a witch hunt. The university's lawyer says, we want an unconditional apology. You've defamed the university and we want 99 crores. What's your judgment?
I would have to start, I would start with what Advocate Gurpreet said. We'll have to first look at the contract of employment. There's something in the contract of employment which restricts her to not post anything or just not have a social media account. For example, there are some restrictions on army personnel to not have social media accounts. So we just have to first look at the contract of employment. If there is no such restriction on what she could do outside the course of employment, then if I were to decide this, I would rule in favor of the said woman, and that's not because I'm a woman. That's just because even if sex of the person changes, the situation doesn't change. If she had done something in the classroom, in the premises of the school or the place where she was teaching, or even in the periphery, and that would have been problematic because that would have had a potential to influence the children as the college or the university is saying. That I would give a wrong influence on the children. Now, this makes me recall of a case which was decided in the European Court of Human Rights, in which the debate was about whether or not primary school teachers in Turkey should be allowed to wear headscarves or hijab. And as we know, Turkey is a secular state with no state religion, and they do not allow professing any kind of religion in public, especially not in the primary school. And the argument on the side of the teacher, primary school teacher, was that, well, it's my freedom of religion, freedom to practice, freedom of expression. And the school, on the other hand, said that, well, it will have an impact of radicalization on the students. And the teacher, on the other hand, said, well, it might also go other way. It would give them a message that women in Islam are allowed to work, and maybe it will give a totally other representation of, and not radicalization. So here as well, this is a whole debate whether or not what is the message, and that there is a man sitting as the dean or the principal of the school deciding what message a woman's swimsuit picture on her social media private account would give to children who she is teaching, or maybe not even teaching, right? So I personally would rule in favor of the woman, and she should get her employment back. I mean, it's the same thing. The situation is kind of same, where we had a professor in one of the universities in Aligarh who was terminated for praying, for offering namaz. And he was offering namaz during the lunchtime in his own cabin, and the students got agitated, and then this person had to quit his job, was made to resign. So freedom of expression, whether it comes on the ground of gender, on the ground of religion, I honestly believe that even legally speaking, if it's not against the reasonable restrictions as mentioned in Article 19.2, I don't think that should be a problem, and I would definitely rule in favor of the lady.
So, appeals court Justice Kaushal, you decided to overturn Judge Kishwar's decision and rule in favor of the university. Why, and how much money of the 99 crores are you giving to the university for this professor to defame St. Xavier's?
What you're saying is, I'm reversing the order, and the university is supposed to get the defamation and the money from the lady.
Yes. By the way, for the sake of the audience, by the way, we don't prepare for this, we don't rehearse. So I'm sorry to do all this to the panelists, but they're lawyers, so then this is what happens in court.
Yeah.
Yes, appeals court Justice Kaushal, the rule in favor of the university, overturn Judge Kishwar, give them defamation of any kind, and what money?
All right, very interesting. Totally contrary to what I would do otherwise, but being a lawyer, let's do it. So I think I'll tell you something. A dress that a woman wears, a costume or attire, an outfit a woman wears, can be good or bad depending upon who the woman is. If the girl or the woman is your wife or your daughter, the dress is decent. However, if the girl wearing the dress or the costume or the outfit is not your wife, not your daughter, not your mother, the dress becomes indecent, the same dress. So now the question of decency, indecency is not about the dress here in public, it's about who is wearing it. The moment we start thinking and considering the person who is wearing this dress as somebody who is close to you, who you not misjudge, your perspective about all these things will change. Coming to the topic here, yes, I would agree. Because of societal issues and because how society treats the dresses being worn, I think in India still is not currently at a juncture where they're able to accept their teachers in those dresses. I think what we need to do is we need to give moral education to our boys, to our men in the society, so that I would not overturn Judge Kishwar's decision. So the responsibility lies with us.
Thank you, sir. So Gurpreet, you have podcast that you run, Kanun Kya Kehta Hai. Wonderful. So, and you earlier spoke about how there is bias for boys and men in our society, which I guess is largely true based on several things we see in law and otherwise in society. But what I don't understand is there's a couple of hundred countries in the planet, 193 according to UN, and about 50 of them have had a woman prime minister or president. Most of the developed nations have not had a woman head. But these 4 South Asian countries that there is so much discrimination against women, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, have had years and years, all 4 of them have had a woman leader. So what is it that we have problems with women taking up other jobs, but when it comes to head of the country, we don't have a problem? Why is that?
Being a leader takes many other skills than just a gender. You know, it's not something which happens in a moment. It's a build up. It is a lot of years and work goes into it. So it's not that one fine day somebody decided that okay, let us have a woman prime minister or a president. It is a decades of work which brings you to that position. Not only just the country head, I'm talking about in many other departments, you know, where women are head in educational institutions, in governmental departments. So I guess, but then it has to be seen how many are getting. So in parliament also, the representation of women is way under the mark, right? And so having one prime minister of course, it is symbolic. Having a president is symbolic. Having a current president who's come from a certain, a section, it is symbolic. But society is made of many people, and it has to change from the I would say from the grassroots level, from the panchayats, from the gram, you know. So see why the government has so many schemes, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, and then I mean Kanya Koshan, so many things so marriage is such a big thing for a father. A marriage of a daughter, not so much of a son. Of course, a son also, you want your son to be married. But marriage of a daughter is such a big thing that you save. That's why the laws of dowry, dowry prohibition had to be made. So it's a common saying that there are 2 main things in a person's life: building a house and marrying your daughter. You know, and you save all your life to do these 2 things, and this is what you spend your money in. So I think it is more of a societal thing. I would not say it's only Indian or Asian thing. I think this is a fight. It's a global fight, you know, and being a woman puts that one extra thing on you. So see, it's like the categorization of a black woman, then a black woman from this particular region, you know. So being a woman, this was the topic of today's discussion, that are women suffering too much? Women are suffering from many dimensions, you know. As I said, it pains me to even answer this question because I wouldn't want to believe this. And I am on a denial. And I would want to be oblivious to this thing, that this is what exists, though I have not grown up in this mindset, but it does exist. And we have these kind of things where a woman comes to me and she says that I want a divorce and I want this maintenance. When a woman asks for maintenance, it pains me, because why did she even need to ask maintenance from someone? Why didn't her parents give her that kind of education? Why it wasn't, why she wasn't in that mindset of being independent, why marriage was the thing. And when the marriage doesn't work, she's back to the father's house. It's again a father's or a brother's responsibility. So it's like a rolling ball from one place to another. So it is a societal thing. When we bring up our daughters and sons as human beings, the gender is only a nature's classification to basically a mother will bear children, and that is what, there is no other difference. Biologically, women may have different features. Then also, okay, the strength of a woman's body may be less than a man's body, but then there are many other faculties where women could be better. So it's not a question of who's better, who's lesser. It's about we can be equals, we can be supportive, complementary to each other. And it's a societal thing, actually. The laws are there only to change those biases, bring that change. I think I can go on and on, but we have to take care of the time.
Santoshi, Gurpreet says that women are suffering. And Amit is a nice guy and he's keeping quiet, but I'm not going to. I feel that men suffer more than women. And we just maybe, I don't know what it is, but here's some facts. Women have 100x more friends than men do. Women share their emotions, men don't. Women make 70% of the visits to doctors worldwide, whereas men don't go to doctors because it's not a macho thing to go to a doctor and say, I have a headache or whatever. When a man dies, a woman lives several years thereafter. When a woman dies first, the men die within 1 year. The women take care of themselves. You go to manicure, pedicure. If I said to Amit, hey, let's go to manicure, pedicure, he'll never call me, talk to me ever again. And worldwide, women live 3, 4, 5 years longer than men. And women are generally younger than men. So I keep telling my wife that women live 7 years longer than men, and she's 4 years younger than me. And when she's fighting with me, I tell her, hey, you're going to have the last 11 years of your life without me and do whatever you want. But till then, can I have some say? And India, women live 3 years longer. So in spite of the fact that you give birth to kids and the kid consumes 40% of the calcium from your body, in spite of the fact that you have to take care of the house and jobs, and yes, life is tougher, but you're living longer. What's going on, Santoshi?
Okay. So honestly, actually, I just wanted to say one thing over here. The thing you mentioned about male also suffering. I mean, it's not, for me personally, I don't believe this concept like female are suffering or male are suffering. It's like the self within, which is there very much into both the genders, male, female, it is suffering.
But Santoshi, I'm interrupting you, but you wrote a book saying, oh, girls, stop bleeding. What about Amit and me? Are you going to feel sorry for us?
Not at all. Actually, Oh Girl, Stop Bleeding, if the subtitle as it says, it's like memoirs of a lost self. So it's not particularly for a girl, because I am a girl, I am addressing this to my older versions. So it's like for everyone who has like sort of lost their self in this chaotic social norms or the expectations which one hold either from the boys or from the girls, because we are living in these social facades. Like, okay, you have, if you're a boy, you can't be emotional. If you're a girl, you can't be intellectual. So what I believe is like this book is particularly for everyone who has like sort of, because they're following these identities and they're just applying all the masks, and because of that they're not able to come as their original being.
But have I convinced you that women have a better life than men, or no?
I will not. I will not agree, nor I will disagree, because it's like kind of, I feel like in some sector, like maybe women are privileged, in some sector males are privileged. it's all about the glorification. This I have understood from my learnings. Like the more we glorify something, because of women empowerment, when it started glorifying so much, the males like started becoming inferior in a way, because women started protesting and all those stuff happened. And when there is a community that comes together, right? So because majority wins always happens, right? So because of that, somewhere males, like they are not able to handle this like huge bunch of people, right? So it's just the idea of glorification. Now if you start talking about male, and if just thousands of male come together, then the single woman, she's just going to shut her mouth. So that's the simple case which I believe, like the more you glorify, the more you're going to become the empowered, or maybe superior to someone. So at some level we have to stop this glorification thing, be it on any side, be it male, be it female. Don't glorify your like gender in a way like other is inferior to you. For me, it's like everyone is same, be it male, be it female. So if someone is suffering, so we have to really understand and be empathetic towards like why they are suffering, be it a woman or be it a male. This is what I believe.
I agree.
I want to come
Jane,
here and ask Gurpreet a question. And Gurpreet said women are suffering more, and I think I agree with you, Navneet. Men are suffering a lot. It's just that they're not vocal about their sufferings. But I'll give my example, my own life example. Okay, so my wife has a wonderful life. Okay, now I envy her life. Okay, she can take a career break whenever she wants to. She's saying, okay, 2 saal kaam kiya, I want to start a new company now. Okay, company chal rahi, I want to start a new company now, and give me some money, and she will spend time with the kids, and kids will say, I love mom more than dad because she's spending all the time with them. How will kids love me if I'm in front of my laptop all the time? She has the option of stopping her career, pausing her career, going for a shopping on a working day. I don't have any of these options. I have not taken
Gurpreet,
a
let him
break.
have it. Gurpreet, don't let him get away with all this. Let him have it.
Yes, Gurpreet, bring it on.
Yeah, so I said at the onset that personally I don't believe, because then I can't be talking about myself. I totally agree. I'm not suffering at all. Like I have taken my own decisions when I think at 5 also I've taken my own decisions. So we are not talking about so when I say things like this, people come around and say that you are privileged. So privilege doesn't come from the money or from the education alone. I have seen women from very affluent backgrounds who are highly educated, who have actually done masters when I hadn't done, and they are, very capable. But then they are suffering. It is your attitude, it is the environment you have chosen for yourself. And also, when women make choices to get married, how much time do they give in choosing the right person? They also, some of them would also choose affluence, the family, the money, and stuff like that. They would also choose the comfort that where they don't have to work. So I'm saying that your life, see, there's one factor. You get born in a family, that's not your choice. You are brought up in a family, that's not your choice. But at some level, you have to take the choice on yourself. No, you start choosing what you want in your life. You start building your own reality. Law is there to support you. No one can force you. No one can. You have a right to get married to the person you want. The Indian law gives you a choice to choose your profession. When you have all the choices, and if you don't take the choices, and then you blame others, then that is also. So personally, I think that I'm not suffering. But yes, there are a whole lot of women who are suffering on account of that. They have never been given that kind of conducive environment to think independently, to make choices, and they are dependent either financially on others, or I would say socially on others. And that's why they're suffering. And of course, the suffering is due to many other reasons: the societal pressure, the physiological, the biological, and there is discrimination, there is violence against women. Women are more prone to sexual violence, though laws like POCSO are gender neutral. When you're a child, of course, a boy child is as much at risk of a sexual crimes as much a girl is, but of course girl is more. But sexual violence against a woman at workplace, in the house, is obviously more. That's why these laws are there. That's why these laws, so many laws. I mean, why these laws are not there for men? I mean, which are the laws only for men? There are laws for women. There was this Sati Prevention Act. There is this Dowry Prohibition Act. There is POSH. There is, domestic violence. And Domestic Violence Act is not a gender neutral. It is for women. So, of course, women are suffering as general, as a whole. There are some privileged section of society who may not come into this mindset, I would say. People like me are not suffering because we make our own choices. We suffer from reasons which are not in our control, but we don't talk about problems, we talk about solutions. But
whatever is not in our control, law is supposed to fix that. So that's one of the reasons we have ILA. We want to clean up the legal system, as our president always says. So Sania, I have a question for you. 1.5 million lawyers in India, only 15% are women, 16%, let's say 250,000. For us to be an equal society, 750,000 should be women, 500,000 behind. Fortunately, the women's percentage is increasing. Right now in schools, in colleges, law colleges, it's 80-20. So in actual life, it's 15, and colleges, law school is 20. So I don't know what it is in your school, but at least progress is being made. But it's way, way behind. And if we can't let it progress at the current rate, something dramatic needs to happen. Can you suggest us a couple of things that we could do as a society to remedy this?
I'm sorry, I missed a few seconds. You were asking the remedy for to increase number of women.
Yeah, so there's 1.5 million lawyers in the country. Only 250,000 are women. It should be 750,000. So we're 500,000 behind. Yeah. Okay, so Santoshi, in the meanwhile, I'll ask you a question.
I just had a technical glitch. Was I asked something?
No, you weren't. Sanya, can you hear me now? Yeah. We can't hear you.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yeah. So I was asking, there's 1.5 million lawyers in the country, only 250,000 women. It should be 750,000 in a fair, equal society. We're 500,000 behind. What do we do to catch up quickly?
I think it should start with the basic, with the education system at the very grassroots level. So once we ensure how many women are graduating their high school, how many women are even right. So I think it should women ensuring that more and more women, girl child, are educated. They have their primary education, they have their high school education, their undergraduation. It's a process that needs to start at the grassroots level. So I think that would be the immediate step.
What is the male-female ratio in your college?
We have way more girl children, female students than I cannot say about the exact dynamics. We have more.
Okay. Madhura, would you lead the webinar from here? Do we have questions? Ask the audience, and would you lead this, please?
Yes, sir.
Q&A
Sure.
portion.
Yes. So we have some interesting audience who have been So a patient audience with us today. Does anyone have any question? You can unmute yourself, ask your question in the chat box. Just let me know if you want to speak.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
See, we were talking about the urban areas women. So far as my experience is concerned, I have taken this cause since last 45 years throughout the country and found that the inequality is not there, but it is financial restraint, that income for the family that burdens the woman, and they are working in the field, they are working for some wages, and they have to support, they are forced to support the families. And even when I was in school, my father was an educationist that time. He was going house to house that send your child to the school. And the school was away from 11 kilometers. We used to walk 11 kilometers. Now, when you take the view of the whole society, it is all right, urban society. But so far as rural society is concerned, there are so many problems. They can't see even the school. They cannot go to the school. I have seen Chandrapur, Ballarsha, that is a tribal area. That is uh, totally, totally excluded from the civilization. They have to run, they have to cross the river by hardship. It is not possible. And those women, those girls who are participating in the family's welfare, they have to work very hard. When they go for the work in the field, while coming back, they collect the firewood. Even these small girls, say after 8 years, 9 years. So what you are talking about, the 27% working in all that, it is all right. That is all data. But so far as my experience is concerned, right from Jammu Kashmir, I travel everywhere. I have taken this profession of lawyer, not because I wanted to become lawyer, but somebody has to talk about the problem. So my organization, or many organization, women related UNMP, we organize them for the small units, industrial unit, so that they can come together and contribute something, and then they can support it financially to the family. The most important problem in our country is that majority of women, they are supporting the family by any means. Their hardship you can't imagine. See, the women of 25, 26 years, they lost their luster. You can't see, you can't imagine they are of 35 years or they are of 50 years. So all these things you have to see. Even I in Punjab also I have seen. I was working there. So the women, they are working much more harder than the men. They cannot see the board of the school. So it is very good effort that we are giving some voice that why it is so. We will have to address the question when we go to the rural women. See, now you say that 27% they are coming for the work. I have seen near about 99% women from the rural area are working. They may not get wages, but they are going for firewood. They are going in farm. So we have developed some farm where the women can work and share the crop. But it is only example. It cannot be massive. So what I request, that all right, all the problem you have seen, but the problem which are about the rural woman, that may also be addressed, and unless those are addressed, there cannot be any solution. So far as the mentality you are talking, when the woman is working in rural area, they are very much respected, but their respect is different type of. not like your urban area. They have got all freedom. They can go, they can work. Even Kashmir, they are going for grazing the sheep and all that. The whole day they are going. They are bringing the firewood. Firewood is most required in Kashmir. Without that, they cannot live their family. So, my request to this august audience and professors and lawyers, that kindly see the other side of the coin. And without that, there cannot be completeness to our effort to bring changes in the life of women. Yeah.
Any panelist want to address that?
I think that's absolutely correct, Navneet. And it's getting late for you. I know you are in the East Coast. If you want to carry on, please carry on. We'll conclude it. Absolutely. I think most women, most people in our country are below poverty line, living in rural areas, and we are just addressing the urban areas issue. And urban is not majority. Urban is minority. Uh, absolutely right point, Advocate Suresh. Totally appreciate that. Santoshi, yes.
Thanks, Abid. And thanks, Suresh sir, for raising this concern. I mean, I truly understand this thing because my initial schooling, it has been done in the slum area. So by slum, I really mean like where we used to have this education. Like I used to be the topper of the school. Since that, I mean, I still like faced these issues where I mean, in fact, in my book, the very first chapter, the very first childhood memory I had of mine, where I felt like woman is some kind inferior, was of that only, the silenced voice. Because the treatment that we get, because we were exposed to this at the very tender age of 8, we were exposed to this like what we say, the perverse eyes, the creeping hands, all those stuff. And like I was in 4th standard and I have seen these rape cases also happening in the school. And because of that, the girls, they like the parents, they were not comfortable sending their girls to the school. And this is even happening now in rural areas. Like it's been like the 2 weeks earlier only, I have seen this news in one of the news channel. It's of the remotest village in Madhya Pradesh, where they had this thing. The school teacher, he raped like almost 4 girls. And then they had this very chaos in the and like atmosphere, or maybe within the parents, like they were afraid of sending the girls to the schools. So this is definitely one of the biggest issues. And I just want to quote here one thing, which is from the Malala, which is like, when the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. So because recently when I started my self-Karigar movement, my main intention is also to help those women who is suffering. Because the whole intent of writing this book is not to glorify something, but to address that issues which Suresh sir has also mentioned, right? Because these issues, they like news channel, they show, but no one work on the root cause, like why this is happening and what changes we can bring just to change whatever is happening with those girls. And they're forced to leave the schools. And many other things are happening. And recently I visited one of the school, like it's in the rural parts of Raigad district. And there the whole intent of me visiting was this only: I can just talk to the girls, I just understand their underlying problems, why they face these issues going to the school. And it can be anything. Like I know, like this rural I also spoke with the women of the rural part of the Raigad district, and they were talking. Now they have started doing like the community building thing, where all women are coming together. They are doing some empowering activities. They're helping each other. So what I want to convey over here is, if we are in the authority position, if we can bring some change to the society, then we should do it by any cause. Like it can be like, you can like go out for a campaign or some like anything, but we obviously we need to ensure this thing, that wherever there is a problem, it's our voice that matters the most. Because if we don't raise the voice against what is happening, we are not going to fight for the rights of like the people who are facing the problem. So this is just, I wanted to say, like, I know that there are so many problems, especially in the rural parts of the country, and it's our responsibility to raise a voice against those issues. And the whole intent of writing the book was this only, like, we don't want to like just focus on the urban problems, like maybe the mental issues and everything, but deep down lies the society and all those norms which keeps women from becoming her like or the full-fledged life that she deserves to be. So what my intent is, like, I definitely have to lead a movements for, or definitely have to lead some campaigns where I can go to the rural parts of Maharashtra at least, and I can talk to people over there. I can do whatever in my hands, but it's everyone's shared responsibility is what I believe.
Yes.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Santoshi. Well, yes, absolutely correct. Yes, Sanya, over to you. We can have the concluding remarks from you.
Yeah, I had a point regarding one of the comments that we have in the comment section, and that is the comment from Sampada. I would like to point out over there because it shows how deep rooted the problem is. From the comment itself, if we could see where she writes, in vices, partying till late, not believing in family institution. I think that's where the problem lies. And unless we address this, I don't think women are going to have their liberty of their choices. For instance, would we even call it a vice when a man is partying late? Why would a woman call it a vice if a woman is partying late? So yes, as Advocate Goodreads said, the most of the discrimination that we face is from women themselves. Now, not believing in a family institution, this could be subjective. A woman can have a choice to not give birth, can have a choice to give birth, can have a choice to give birth to more than one child. And that's her choice because she ultimately has to carry the baby, nourish them, etc. Of course, men play a very significant role, but the impact on the bodies of the woman. And then when we end up writing, when we end up classifying these things as vices, when specifically it comes to women, we are just reimposing the gendered rules. Why can't we say the same thing about men? Right, but we don't. We end up saying that, well, women have been given so many they now they are allowed education, now they are allowed to work, they should focus on that, they should not party. This happened with the Prime Minister of Finland as well. After working, doing all her duties, managing the economy of the country, if she's partying in her free time, people call it, oh, she's partying. What if that person was not a woman? Then it would have been, oh, he's having a relaxation after a long, tiring day. So the things change, and I think that is where the problem lies, and especially when it comes to women, as women, we also have different understandings. Some of us think that, well, we should just depend on men, and others think that, no, I am so independent, I wouldn't want to have a family. I think both of that is equal unless and until it's your own choice. If I want to be a housewife, I'm okay with that. I'm not being forced to be a housewife. I don't think that should be a problem. On the other hand, if I want to work out and someone is forcing me to stay inside, then that would be a problem. So I think whenever a woman has the liberty to, for instance, what's going on in India and Iran at the same time, right? It's the same kind of question. We are being forced to remove our hijab in India, and in Iran, they are being forced to wear hijab. Both of that is problematic, equally problematic, because someone else dictating what a woman should do with their body is problematic, and unless that is resolved. I just had a look at the comment and I found it a little disturbing. That's why I thought to bring this out, where the problem lies, in the very roots, in the very understanding, the gender stereotypes, the gendered roles.
Absolutely, Sanya, totally. I think the biggest issue is when somebody is forced to do something out of their will. That's for men and women both. When let's say human beings were forced to do independence to do certain things, a Sankrant was being born. So forcing somebody to do something is not right, whether men or women. Yes, Gurpreet, any closing remarks?
I'll just take a moment. I think coming back to the question of rural women and the problems in the rural area, I would say it's time that we should include. Inclusion is the key word. And the internet has been there for a long time, but COVID has taught us how to stay connected, be connected with anywhere in the world sitting at home. So I think we should use the technology to our best advantage and be connected, because I don't think rural women are any weak. If a woman can go to the fields and farm, if there can be a woman farmer, a woman who can do farming can do anything, because farming is the most difficult thing in the world. If you can do that physical labor, along with it, if you can bear children, give birth to children, you can bring up children, cook for a family of 20, go to the do farming, then you can do anything. I think going to a school and studying is the easiest thing compared to all these things. So I guess there is a lot of work happening. There are a lot of NGOs who are working in the field, and there are more people than we think they are working on this. So I think people like us who have ideas, who can like Santoshi, she's written a book and she has ideas about campaigns and all. I think people like us should join hands and include we can nurture the leaders in villages. We can have women leaders who again take up charge of other people. So I think these talks are a great initiative, because everything starts from here. And let me remind you of Bhavri Devi case, who was a rural woman who was working in a rural setup, and her voice only actually led to enactment of the POSH law, right? Prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace. So what is it that a rural woman can't do? And it's the onus on the woman only to teach the men, because she's the one who gives birth to the men. So I think even if the patriarchy is so strong, I think all of us can do our bit. It may take some time, but taken the first step is a battle half won. So thank you with that. And I hope in future we don't have to do these discussions, whether women are suffering, whether women are equal or not equal. I hope we are capable enough as human beings to support and help whoever is in a weak position, be it a man, be it a woman, be it a transgender, gender irrespective. Thank you.
Thank you so much, panelists. Really appreciate you coming over and giving so much knowledge and your perspective. I think being a giver always helps. You can walk with your chin up and chest up, and being a taker never helps. You guys are givers. You share your perspective, your time with us. Thank you so much. We would love to talk to you again. Until then, take care of yourself, and we're truly glad you came for the panel session. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Amit,
Thank you,
for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so much.
Madhura. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.